welcome back to Reality Renewed. Today we have Terry on, who is a wellness coach, traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, dad of 2, and just an amazing all-around guy. I've had the pleasure of knowing Terry now, for probably 6 years?
Yeah, 6 years.
6 years. I started training with you after I had my middle child, who, she's 8 at this point. So I maybe took a little bit of time in between, but I got back on the horse. And then I trained with you with Penny, my youngest, while I was pregnant, and then up until the very end. And I always say, I think one of the reasons my labor with her and everything was so easy is because you helped me. You really just trained me throughout the end and kept my body moving. And so I'll always be eternally grateful for that. So I'm so happy you came on the podcast, and thank you for being a guest. And you had done a wonderful presentation at Interlaken, and I unfortunately was out of town, so I couldn't be there. And selfishly, I wanted you to come on the podcast, so it's like I'm there again. And I wanted just to sort of hear about, I know it's going to be in a more condensed version, but I think perimenopause and menopause for women is sort of one of these taboo conversations that women don't want to talk about, because in our society, it's like aging is scary and awful. And if you say, you want to learn about perimenopause and menopause, it's like you're saying you're, getting old or aging. And so I think to break that stigma and just say it can be a very easy transition, if you allow it to be.
If you're willing to put in the work.
Right.
And well said, yes. Taboo-wise, it is to admit that you're going to go through perimenopause and menopause is meaning that we are aging. And nowadays, societies want to define aging. And from a traditional Chinese medicine background, we talk about it's like perimenopause. Menopause is the second spring. It's a natural cycle of a woman. And Western medicine says, well, during that phase, you lost your fertility. So it seems like you're being discarded. And that's becomes like, oh, that's not good for me. But in Chinese medicine, it's like, no, you're going through a new phase in your life. So how do we mitigate that and mitigate the symptoms that comes with it?
I love that.
To be honest, there is no magic pill. Everybody goes through a very unique experience. You might have similar symptoms, side effects, but yet it's different degree for each individual. So it's just needing to acknowledge that, thereby you don't feel like, there's something wrong with me why I'm having all these symptoms and the other person doesn't have. And it's just in Chinese medicine, say, well, there's a more imbalance in your body, and it could be years of stress that's catching up to you now, and find it's rearing its ugly head. And how do we deal with that? Instead of trying to squash it, because our body is like when we have problems with the body, is a first signal telling us, hi, there's something wrong with me, let's deal with this, instead of putting a plaster onto it and shunt it away.
Right.
So when you see it from this perspective, it's like, oh yeah, it's part of me. How do I want to deal with it so I can talk about it and not feel ashamed of my body is changing and not aging.
I like that.
So,
changing, not aging. That should be like a bumper sticker or something.
I think so.
I love that. Changing, not aging. That's amazing. So I would love to hear kind of what are some of those early signs that I know everyone may have different symptoms, but sort of what would you say those initial signs that people should look out for?
For a lot of people, it's being more of the feeling puffy through your cycles, and your cycle can become irregular. But puffiness is a big one. Emotional, sort of like sensitivity. So some people think I'm going crazy, I might having my midlife crisis, I'm questioning things, I'm more sensitive, and those are all the first signs, you know. And unfortunately, there's no real test for perimenopause.
Okay.
You can go test for your hormones to get a baseline, and you see how that fluctuates through the years. And when you hit menopause, meaning that 12 months of no cycles, then that is, you're in menopause. So it's different for a lot of people. But those big symptoms from emotional, I wouldn't say instability, emotional like turmoil within, you know, questioning yourself, you're very sensitive, you might feel like you're having a bit of anxiety or depression, to maybe start feeling hot flushes as well, all those common symptoms coming through.
Okay.
And it's really important to keep a journal and see how it goes. So
It sounds really fun.
And be more open with, you know, your friends about it. It's like, hey, this is what I'm going through. Are you going through that? And talk about it. And I think men should be educated too, so they can understand from their wife's perspective what they're going through, instead of, oh, that's just menopause, and that's being in denial, and that causes a bit of tension. And thereby, yes, that's why it's strange for a man talking about perimenopause and menopause, because I find it very interesting with dealing with my clients, trying to understand what they're going through. And there's been a lot of question about it, and there's a lot of information out there, and how do we filter through it all, and how it's going to help us. And everybody's waiting for that big magic pill. Unfortunately, there's no magic pill.
Right. And I would love to hear, kind of going into that, is what, you know, so we're talking about kind of like those initial symptoms. What would you say sort of leads to you having worse symptoms than others?
A good question. They're varying on the individuals, we mentioned that, but it's also a lot to do with stress. Stress is a big one. Marketing nowadays is finding band-aid to all our stresses, so we have things like adaptogens, from functional mushrooms to ashwagandha, all those things. I like to say it's more of a band-aid to the problem.
Okay.
So we are a vessel, we can only carry so much stress, and now all of a sudden we're having all these adaptogens. We're sort of trying to hold more stress without overflowing and going crazy. That's sort of like a band-aid to the problem. We will have to really look at the level of stress that we carry. And stress, I like to use it as a term that covers everything. There's good stress, bad stress, and our body sees stress as it is not good for us. And we live in a very stressful, high-paced environment.
Yes.
That we're thinking, oh, I need to just take this to counter my stress, or have better adaptogen, I can cope better. But our system cannot heal from that. So thereby hormonally we're not rejuvenating well, we're not sleeping well, so there's like a snowball effect, and for each person's different. So you might have, some people have more hot flushes, other people have insomnia. So from the person's individually, could be a physical symptom, emotional symptom, varying on the person. And that's what's nice about Chinese medicine. It's like, okay, well, if you have more physical, let's see what we need to do about it, and let's open up the channels. Maybe you have to do certain exercise more relaxing. And a person with sleep issues like insomnia, how do we calm the brain down? You know, and maybe you need to do more breathing techniques, yoga, something which is more subtle. So we're trying to add coping mechanisms in a way to get our body to shift from that sympathetic nervous system, meaning stress, fight or flight, to the rest recovery, which is the parasympathetic. So like breathing exercises really help, to yoga, gentle exercises as well, very mindful stuff. We're not big into a hit, you know, like HIIT, let's go in, let's beat myself up. I mean, it helps physically, but yet it stresses the body more, so that means you're adding more stress into the cup. And then from there, like, well, why is this is not helping? So stress is a big one that we have to really address.
Yeah, and I think, to your point, in our society, we're expected to deal with so much and handle so much and take on so many different things and just kind of put up with it. And I don't always think, I mean, I have a lot on my plate, and it's kind of like, well, yeah, buck up, buttercup, you know? And you're kind of, and you just sort of keep going until you realize, like, oh my gosh, I'm so run down,
Yes.
and I need to be able to, take care of myself and be a mom and be able to take care of my kids. And so I like that with with what you're saying is like, you need to also check in with yourself and with your body.
Yeah, being very mindful. So, and that's one thing we tend to forget. We're like, okay, I don't have time, I'm just gonna, let's say, with not sleeping well, and the big thing is caffeine. We are a nation that is, our baseline is functioning on caffeine. It's a drug. I'm gonna get lynched for this, and it's a very addictive drug, where it adds stress to the body. There has been a lot of studies, go on both sides, which supportive that is very helpful to cognitively for you to function well.
This is tea, by the way.
I believe you. But yet it's also where it's like, yes, you can have coffee, but you live on
Sorry,
multiple...
this is my guard dog.
Oh, that's great.
My pit bull over here, aka she's 10 pounds. Oh my gosh.
She's doing her job.
Yeah, exactly. She feels when I get stressed. And then she barks for me.
During this conversation?
Yes. I'm thinking about the hot flash I'm going to have tonight. And then,
Caffeine.
Yes.
It stimulates the adrenal glands. And what does adrenal glands do? It was designed for us to have a fight-flight response. So when we add caffeine first in the morning, we're straight away into putting stress on our body. And that's a baseline, and we're constantly under stress. So it means our cup is always full. We can't really handle more stuff. And when stress affects us, like, life happens, everything is not predictable. And then we get stressed again. It's like, oh no, I thought I have everything planned, but yet we don't have the capacity to receive more and be more objective to the situation. So thereby it's like, well, say like, if you can cut caffeine
all the way,
you try to lessen it. For the fact is, I really enjoy coffee.
Same. Do you not drink coffee?
I try to do decaf. I enjoy the taste. I don't like the buzz. When I have caffeine, I have this very bad palpitation. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, why am I feeling so anxious right now? I think everything is fine. And it's the caffeine. And just having one cup, and next day I decide not to have it, I get withdrawal.
Oh gosh.
So for me, it's like, very clear to me that this is very much very addictive to my system, and I don't want it in my system. So thereby, yes, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and if I say cut caffeine, well, maybe you don't see me tomorrow. Like so. But yet it's very, very addictive, and it has a lot of side effects that there's not enough studies on it. I don't think anybody wants to admit to it yet.
Yeah.
No.
So, if anything, just cutting, because some people are going to say, I do like, I've cut my caffeine down, but I do like one, cup in the morning.
Yeah.
But I do remember you saying, because we've had conversations about this, and I was not good about it, but I remember you saying, if you can, before you have that cup of coffee, like, have a glass of water.
Yes.
Or have like a little bit of something to eat. So like the first thing in your body isn't just caffeine.
Yeah.
And I do that. Like I remember thinking of you with that, because I get that. Like when you go to sleep and then you wake up and then the first thing in your body obviously is caffeine kind of jolting you.
Yeah.
I still have my cup, but maybe just have something in the system first.
Yes. Always recommend like room temperature water or warm water. You can do lemon tea, a slice of lemon into it. Think about it, at night your body's recovering, so it's going to detox, so we're going to get a little bit dehydrated. So thereby have like warm water. It's not a shock to the system. If you drink cold water, it's just shuts the whole digestive system down and starts to warm it up again. So thereby the warm water gets absorbed much quicker. So thereby you have that in, you rehydrate, and you can have your cup of coffee, caffeinated, and that's less stress on the system. So because caffeine is a diuretic, so imagine you're dehydrated when you wake up and you throw caffeine with a diuretic, it's going to create a bit of havoc on the system.
Yeah, okay. I like it. So let's go into, so we've talked about caffeine and we've talked about stress. I would love to talk about kind of going into some of this. Well, I would love to talk about with the role of the kidney, the liver, and the heart.
Yes.
And emotional and physical symptoms. I think that is so interesting. I've never thought about the heart and the emotional side of it. You think of only those physical symptoms.
So with Chinese medicine itself, it's we see each organ has specific emotions attached to it. So like the kidney will have fear, liver is anger, irritability, frustration, and the heart's got to do with self-esteem. So what happens when you have that out of sync, and those are the three primary meridians that we really use a lot to regulate the hormones in the body. Well, there's spleen as well involved, but there's a few others, but those are the three primary ones. We try to open up those meridians, and for people which don't know what meridians are, imagine your body's a house, and the meridians are the plumbing and electrical system. When you have a blockage in your plumbing or a short in your electrical system, what an acupuncturist does, or a traditional Chinese medicine practitioners, we try and open up those meridians so the body can just carry on functioning, or the house to function. So we try to create that balance. We don't try and add anything new, because the body has the ability to heal, and our job is just to make sure things flow more smoothly. And there's sometimes that we might have to warm up the body, and then there's like herbs that we use, from herbs to things that we burn on acupoints, just to add a little bit more like chi or energy into the body.
So on to that, I would love to hear, how do you keep, if those areas are closed, how do you open them?
You can go see an acupuncturist.
Okay.
And try, to be honest, choose an acupuncturist that specializes in women's fertility and OBGYN. So a lot of time is when an acupuncturist go study, and acupuncture doesn't have to be just purely needles. They can also do massage, they do cupping, and they do herbs as well. They're herbalists as well. So they combine all of those. And a lot of time is a normal acupuncturist, it's like a general practitioner. And some acupuncturists can choose to specialize in a specific field. And that makes them a little bit more well-studied and more educated in that field. And then they will go for further studies with that.
Wow.
So ask your acupuncturist if you are working with one. It's like, hey, can you recommend someone that is focused more on that? And that really does help. It's not saying they don't know what they're doing. It's nice to have that specialty. Like you're going to a general practitioner, it's like, oh, I've got this pain, and like, well, maybe. No, let me send you to a specialist. Same thing you can do with an acupuncturist.
So there's acupuncturists. I sound so naive, but I don't love needles, but I think I want to do it because I've heard it's amazing and extremely helpful. But there are acupuncturists that specialize just in
It's OBGYN.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for fertility, perimenopause, menopause, irregular menstrual cycles. There's a whole field in that.
And is there a way to figure out, like, is there a website or resources to figure out sort of who are the right people to go to?
Good questions. You have to do your research. It's not so regulated here.
Okay.
In a way like most other doctors, other medical fields. Acupuncturist here is very much more like an umbrella to cover everything. You will have to do your research and speak to the acupuncturist, like what are they experience, who are their main clients or patients, and then you can decipher, who you want to really work with.
Okay. Because you you had to go to school for a long time to learn this. I remember you telling me
Yeah,
that.
I went to China, went to Shanghai to go study. So from there, I was likely to experience all the different departments. And then the final part is that I was always in sports, and with massage therapy and injuries, my field was very much on pain management. And while I'm in this menopause is I have a lot of clients ask a lot of questions because I'm very diverse in my knowledge.
Right.
And it's sort of just guiding people what questions they could ask. Though I'm a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, I'm not against HRT.
Oh,
It
okay.
has its place, and everything has its place. So
And HRT, for people that may
uh,
not know what it stands for.
it's hormone replacement therapy.
Okay.
It has advanced in the last 30, 40 years. So thereby, you don't have to be a purist. And I always tell everybody, like, well, don't be scared of it. Take it if you're having such bad side effects, because it's going to help mitigate that very quickly. So thereby, it's not going to affect your life and for emotionally, and also your relationships. Because you don't want that to be the problem, because it's hormonal. It can cause a lot of issues at home with the relationship with your kids, could be with your spouse, with your partner, even at work. So that's going to cause a lot of problems to get onto the HRT. And from there, then you start trying to get onto the alternative.
Okay.
And if you don't have such big side effects or symptoms, then yes, go for the healthier option.
Yeah.
More natural option. I won't say healthier, but more natural holistic approach.
Yeah.
And then everything else from yoga to Tai Chi, breathing techniques, those all help open up the meridian. And that's very much is moving the body from that sympathetic nervous system to the parasympathetic. So that's from the fight flight to the rest and recovery. So we want to keep in that rest and recovery as much as we can without creating more stress. And that's a cut your caffeine too.
Yeah. Do that. But I do like that aspect of saying, you're not coming here saying, don't do this, don't do that, only do acupuncture.
No, not at all.
It's because there's probably has to be a little bit of a give and take, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, we live in a different lifestyle. Right? We live a more fast-paced lifestyle, so traditional Chinese medicine is a much slower. We don't cure, we prevent. So
once you're already past that point.
You're past that, it's sort of mitigate all the side effects, and then try to find that balance again. And if you, let's say, listening to this in your mid-30s, before you hit perimenopause, it might be a good time to start questioning how I can mitigate all the symptoms, and then work with a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner or acupuncturist, how you can get the body ready for the next spring. Because spring you need to have fertile ground, so that means you have to do a lot of foundational work to look after the body, and from there, when it comes to the second phase, then you can transition much smoothly without any hiccups or less of hiccups.
Right. And if you are already, because I do have listeners that, we serve all ages here, Terry. So
That's great, yeah.
I may have, some listeners who are, in perimenopause or in menopause. So for those, would you say, going to a acupuncturist and then, doing the hormone replacement therapy, if you're kind of doing both hand in hand, my guess would be you're not going to have to be on such a higher dose of the hormone replacement therapy over time.
Yeah, because hormone HRT is the strength rate depends on your symptoms and your imbalance. So thereby, if you can, that's why it's on there. That's why each one's a little different. You always have to go for blood testing to see how your body's receiving and taking it. And then if you're on both, what's nice is the Chinese medicine is going to start sort of opening up the channels, so thereby your symptoms doesn't worsen, you maybe stabilize, and maybe slowly lessen. So thereby, we'll have to work with your practitioners, like how maybe you can get off or lessen the HRT.
Now I would love to talk about the importance of exercise.
Exercise. I like to use the word moving the body.
I like that.
It opens up for your ability to do a lot of things. exercise and Western perspectives, like you have to be at the gym, have to lift weights. Yes, there are studies about it, especially the biggest concern of osteoporosis for women heading into menopause. There has been studies that say yes, you need to train heavy, and that's true, but that's very one-sided. My biggest concern is a person who doesn't have good posture. Biomechanically, training heavy opens up to injuries. So thereby it's like, well, I would suggest trying to train lighter, meaning higher volume instead of heavier weights. So you get the form right, then you could go a little bit heavier. Now other options are yoga, Tai Chi.
So is Tai Chi is, what's Tai Chi?
Tai Chi is it's a gentle Chinese choreographed like movement.
Oh.
So it's you get the body to move in a more rounded approach, so you go through a better range of motion, ROM or ROM. So
Are there beginner classes for people who may not be coordinated?
Yes.
I'm obviously a very coordinated
It's like
person.
everything.
I'm not speaking about myself per se. I'm talking about a friend who's uncoordinated. But are they?
Yes, Tai Chi itself is, there's always basic movements you learn. Same with yoga, there's always, you start with basics. And until you get the basics right, you get the most benefit when you get the basics right. So thereby it's really important to understand the whole concept. There's Tai Chi now becoming more of an exercise, like sold as an exercise, and it's more of meditative, so it's have more than just the physical benefits, there's the mental benefit as well. And also the breathing. So you're adding like 3 different things together in one, and it's very safe, low impact on the joints. Same with yoga as well. And I will have to like put a sort of like a disclaimer there. It's not going for a yoga HIIT class. It's not a yoga sweat class. You're going for a traditional yoga class. And I always like to recommend start with a slow yoga or like a yoga nidra, yin yoga, things that's slower. With my experience, a lot of people find that if they go for a fast class, high percentage will never go back because they feel out of place. Right? And it's much nicer to go to a class which is nice and slow. You can look around, you can even ask. It's like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, and the teacher will come and adjust you in position, and you're like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to feel. Instead of a big flow class to start off, you're going to get totally lost and you're not going to get any benefits, and most likely you will quit.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of that, and I like to always teach you basics, because the basic is the foundation. And then also with yoga itself is what we see in classes, like doing all the asanas or the poses. That's one of the disciplines out of 8 disciplines in yoga. So there's a lot of other disciplines. One is from breathwork, meditation, self-care, self-hygiene, being kind, morality, a lot of other things more involved to make a person more holistic. So it's
Very
sort of cleansing yourself internally and externally. So yes, we went on a little bit of a tangent there, but
I liked it. I was into it. I thought it was great, personally. And I think osteoporosis is obviously something that a lot of women, as they're aging,
yes,
it can be, I mean, my grandmother had it, and it can be very detrimental to your daily life. And so I like the idea of doing these exercises just to prevent kind of our body from not being able to move as well. And I think if we, as we age, if we just keep making sure that our bodies are moving well, that we're supplying it with good nutrients, that we're doing this breath work, as you mentioned. I mean, I like your analogy of like, this is our house. This is, the term, your body is the temple. And I think we just assume that we can just put a Band-Aid on it, like, oh, I have anxiety, and I think there can be a great in between, right? Because I'm not by no means like anti-medicine or anti-medication, because that does, serve its purpose. But I think in our society, we just assume we have sort of a Band-Aid for every little thing that's going to come up.
Yeah.
And I think to your point is, the more you can do holistically, it's going to kind of prevent you from having to go on all of those different medications.
Yeah, as I said, it's like with medication, it has its purpose.
Right.
So if you're suffering from depression, anxiety, if you need to be on it, please be on it.
Yeah.
For the fact that you're more capable of dealing with what else comes.
Right.
Instead of dealing with that issue, and then from there everything just falls apart.
Right.
So as in time, as you have better coping mechanisms or habits, you can slowly wean yourself off it with the care and guidance of your psychiatrist or doctor. But yet it's sort of like, don't be scared to use it, but that is also not the only way. So, and also Chinese medicine is not the only way too. And I would, as you said, I'm not promoting Chinese medicine as the only way. This is what I know. I find it's a nice combination between the two, so you can find a nice even balance. Ayurveda is another option too. Some people resonate better with that than Chinese medicine.
What is that?
The Indian version of traditional medicine.
Oh.
So people which are really into yoga, they're very much more into the Ayurvedic medicine. So they've got their herbs as well, and the poultices, a lot of different things, and they categorize their food in I think 3 specific elements as well, and they work with that. So it's very similar to Chinese medicine, but it's just sort of using different terminologies and sort of the overlaps in certain things.
Well, I love that. I love the combining both, combining Western and traditional Chinese medicine together. And I also think knowing that it's okay to do both. I think breath work, and I'll be honest, when I hear the term breath work, I get like a little, not anxious isn't the right word, but I think of it as I have to be in a room having someone help me breathe, counting with me, and having it be this whole thing, and sometimes it's a little bit intimidating.
Yeah.
But I know the importance of it. But are there just more simple?
Oh yeah, there's simple ways which we'll say it's more of like a Band-Aid as well.
Okay.
For the fact is, let's simply just put as we can live without food for weeks. We can live without water for days, but we can't live without breath or oxygen for minutes. So it gives you a perspective how important breath is, or oxygen. So the quality of our breath will determine the quality of what's happening with our system. So a lot of time when we are stressed, we tend to hyperventilate. We breathe from the upper part of our chest. All right, and then thereby with Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, you learn to breathe a lot deeper with your diaphragm. So what happens is we've got the lower lobes of our lungs. It's sort of like the last third of the lobe. If we can activate that absorbs 60% of the oxygen into our system.
Oh, wow.
And most of the time we're only breathing 40%. And that's why when you go to yoga classes or when you do train, the sort of the high that you get afterwards, your body's finally going, oh, wow, that's a lot more oxygen in my system. So thereby it's not suffocating. It's like it's saturated. So thereby it feels fantastic. So a nice little tip is to switch the body from the sympathetic to parasympathetic, and you can do it anywhere, is that breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and breathe out for 8.
So breathe in for 4.
Hold for 4.
Like hold your breath for 4.
And then breathe out for 8. And you do the counting yourself, alright? So when you're breathing, don't count 1, 2, 3, 4, because that's very habitual, so you're not consciously aware. So then you tend to speed it up. So if you're breathing in for 4, it's like 4, 3, 2, 1, hold, 3, 2, 1, out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold, 4, 3, 2, 1, and take and continue. That's one cycle. And by breathing.
Did you just do that right now?
Yeah.
Do you feel more relaxed?
Totally, always. So I had to just do that.
Yeah, that was great.
In fact, it is.
You looked relaxed.
It just gets your body to switch over from the sympathetic to parasympathetic, from the fight flight to a rest recovery. And that's why it's really simple. Like if you're driving a car and someone cuts you off and you're like, you know, and sometimes like just take a deep breath in and breathe out. And don't even have to count. As long as your exhalation is longer than your inhalation, it forces the body to recognize it is safe. It's very rudimentary. There's more science to it, but yet that is just so rudimentary that if you can just do that, you consciously breathe, and you're taking that deep inhalation, but a very slow exhalation, it's telling the body, okay, I don't have to get the breath back in because I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a fight-flight response.
That's so easy, and also I feel like very impactful.
Yes.
So when I'm in the carpool line,
yes,
and the line is so long and not moving, and I'm feeling really stressed out, I'm just gonna breathe and zen, and I'm gonna think of you, Terry.
Yes. Just do it for 4 or 5 cycles, and that's it. It doesn't have to be much, and then from there, as you get habitually more aware with the breath, it's easier to go do something longer, like going for a class. Then it's not so foreign to you. Because initially, in the beginning, it's like trying to breathe in a lot deeper. A lot of people tend to breathe from the chest, and the diaphragm doesn't drop, so they don't pulling the breath down, so they can't get the lower part to work.
Yeah.
And they're like almost hyperventilating,
right.
And because there's so much restriction down here, and thereby it's like it takes time to actually to get the body to, okay, I'm safe, I can relax, so then the diaphragm will drop down for you to pull that deeper breath in, and then slowly control the breath out. So it's a big muscle there.
Yeah.
And there's a whole science for doing all that, because we at the moment is using our upper chest when we're stressed to breathe. That means it elevates our heart rate. So the heart is moving all the blood, right? Now if we get the diaphragm to breathe, that internal pressure is pushing the blood on behalf of our heart. So it saves the heart from creating more work. So it's reducing the stress. From there, then extends the life of your heart. Because science says we only have certain amount of heartbeats in the life cycle of our heart. Now if you can get...
Really?
Yeah. So if you can get diaphragm to do that, it lessens the slows effect of the heartbeat. From there, it extends your life.
Okay, well, basically, you're welcome, listeners, because we've extended your life by breath work, exercise,
and mindfulness.
Yeah. I love that. And just being more, mindfulness, so being more present, being more aware.
Yeah.
It's okay to have symptoms.
Yes.
They're normal. It's part of aging. And we're going to be okay. We're not being put out to pasture.
Feels that way in this society.
Yes. But there's ways that we can do both, whether it's HRT and also traditional Chinese medicine.
Yeah. Alternatives.
And
homeopathy.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff is available out there.
And we're lucky that we live in a place where we have all these different accessibility to all these different options. Well, thank you so much, Terry, for coming on and for all of your insights. It was very helpful. And if people want to find you, where can they find you?
First, you can share that PowerPoint presentation I gave you.
So that is, we're allowed.
Yeah, you're allowed.
Okay.
That's my copyright.
Okay, so I will absolutely share that.
You can share that, and
yes.
If they want to reach out, then you can forward my details. They can reach out.
I absolutely will. Well, thank you so much, Terry.
My greatest pleasure. That was fun.
Yes, thank you.